Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful village by the sea, there lived a humble fisherman. Every day, he would set out at dawn with his little boat and simple fishing net, casting it into the ocean in hopes of a good catch. Life was simple, but peaceful. The fisherman's name was Jack, and he lived with his loving wife, Maria, and their two young children, Emily and James. Their village, nestled between rugged cliffs and crystal clear waters, was a haven for those seeking solitude and connection with nature. Although they had little, the fisherman was content with his peaceful existence. But his wife always dreamed of more. The fisherman's wife gazed out the window, her eyes drifting toward the horizon. She yearned for excitement, adventure, and a life beyond the village's narrow borders. While her husband found solace in the familiar rhythms of the sea, the wife's imagination ran wild with tales of distant lands and possibilities. One day, while casting his net into the sea, the fisherman pulled in an incredible catch, a shimmering, golden fish that spoke with a voice like the wind. "Please let me go," said the fish, "and I will grant you any wish." The fisherman, astonished, stared at the golden fish. Its scales glimmered in the sunlight, and its voice echoed in his mind. He had heard tales of magical creatures, but never thought he'd encounter one. "Any wish?" the fisherman repeated, his voice trembling. "Yes, anything your heart desires," the fish replied. "But choose wisely, for the consequences of your wish will be yours to bear." But the fisherman did not make any wish. When the fisherman returned home, he told his wife about the magical fish. She was not pleased that he had let the fish go without making a wish. "You fool," she cried. "Go back and ask the fish for a new house." The fisherman hesitated, remembering the golden fish's warning. The path to happiness may not be what you expect. But his wife's discontent and frustration were palpable. He returned to the sea, calling out to the golden fish. The fish reappeared, its voice like the wind. "You have freed me once, fisherman. Why do you summon me again?" "I apologize, noble fish," the fisherman replied. Quote, he humbly asked for a new house. "It is done," said the fish before disappearing into the waves. The fisherman returned home, eager to share the news with his wife. As he approached their small cottage, he noticed a stunning mansion standing in its place. Its grandeur shimmered in the sunlight, with towering spires and beautifully manicured gardens. His wife's eyes sparkled as she beheld their new home. "It's magnificent," she exclaimed, embracing her husband. Together, they explored the mansion, marveling at its opulence. But as night fell, the fisherman couldn't shake off the golden fish's warning. But even then, his wife was not satisfied. His wife's discontent grew, festering like an open wound. She complained about the mansion's decor, the village's dullness, and the fisherman's simple ways. "Isn't this enough?" the fisherman pleaded, his patience wearing thin. "We have more than we ever dreamed." His wife's gaze turned cold. "You're content with mediocrity. I want more. Go back to the fish and ask for greater wealth and power." The fisherman hesitated, recalling the golden fish's warning. But his wife's relentless pressure wore him down. The fisherman, though hesitant, went to the sea once more. As the fisherman stood at the shore, he called out to the golden fish, his voice heavy with regret. "Noble fish, I've come again, though I fear my wife's desires will never cease." The golden fish emerged, its gaze piercing. "Your wife's ambition knows no bounds, fisherman. She will never be satisfied. But I shall grant her wish once more. Grant my wife's wish for a bigger mansion with a walk-in closet." The golden fish regarded him thoughtfully. "Your wife's desires know no bounds, fisherman. But I shall grant this wish. Yet, beware, for each desire fulfilled breeds new discontent." With a flick of its tail, the fish vanished. The fisherman returned home to find their kingdom expanded, with an opulent palace at its center. Sophia reveled in her new walk-in closet, filled with clothes, shoes, bags and jewelry. "I deserve more than this," said the wife. "Go to the fish and ask to make me a queen." The fisherman, now worried about the consequences, reluctantly obeyed. The fisherman returned to the sea, his heart heavy with foreboding. "Noble fish," he said, "my wife demands to be made a queen. I fear her ambition will bring ruin upon us." The golden fish gazed at him with sorrowful eyes. "Your wife's desires will never cease. she will never be satisfied. Yet, I shall grant this wish. But beware, fisherman, for queens rise and fall. With a regal nod, the fish vanished. The fisherman returned home to find Sophia crowned queen, ruling over a vast empire. The fisherman looks uneasy as the fish glows faintly, about to dive back into the depths of the ocean. "Wait, noble fish," the fisherman exclaimed, his voice laced with urgency. The golden fish paused, its glow softening. "What troubles you, fisherman?" it asked. "I fear my wife's ambition will destroy us all," the fisherman confessed. "Her desires know no bounds. Have I made a terrible mistake?" The golden fish regarded him with compassionate eyes. "You have freed me, fisherman. Yet, you have also unleashed a power that cannot be contained." Now, the wife sat on a golden throne in a vast palace. She was queen of all the land, with servants, riches, and power. But deep inside, she still wanted more. The queen's gaze swept across her opulent court, her eyes lingering on the lavish tapestries, the glittering jewels, and the bowing courtiers. Yet, her expression remained unfulfilled. "More," she whispered to herself. "I must have more." Her advisors trembled as she summoned them, demanding new conquests, greater wealth, and unrivaled dominance. But with each victory, her hunger grew. She devoured kingdoms, enslaved nations, and hoarded treasures. Though she was now queen, the wife was not content. "I want to be even more powerful," she exclaimed. "Go back to the fish and ask to make me ruler of the universe." The fisherman's eyes widened in horror. "My queen, please, do not ask this. The golden fish's power is not limitless, and its warnings have grown clearer with each wish." But the queen's ambition would not be swayed. "Silence," she commanded. "You will do as I say. Go to the fish and demand my rightful place as ruler of the universe." The fisherman, fearing the consequences, reluctantly obeyed. The fisherman, deeply worried about his wife's insatiable greed, went back to the sea. The waves were now stormy, and the sky was dark. He called out to the fish once more. "Noble fish," the fisherman cried above the howling wind. "I beg you, grant no more wishes. My wife's greed consumes her, and I fear for our world." The golden fish emerged from the turbulent depths, its radiance struggling against the darkness. "Your warnings come too late, fisherman," it said, its voice troubled. "Your wife's ambition has awakened forces beyond my control. Your wife desires too much," said the fish. "I cannot grant her this wish." With that, the fish disappeared into the ocean, and the storm grew stronger. The fisherman knew something terrible would happen. The fisherman stumbled back to the palace, the storm raging around him. He found the queen, her face twisted in rage. "The fish refused me," she shrieked. "It denied me my rightful place." The fisherman approached her, his eyes filled with warning. "My love, listen. The fish has spoken. Your desires will bring destruction upon us all." But the queen's madness had consumed her. "You fool," she spat. "I'll show you all what true power looks." Suddenly the palace vanished, and in its place stood their old, worn-down cottage. His wife sat outside, her riches and power gone. She had learned a bitter lesson. The fisherman stumbled towards the cottage, his mind reeling from the sudden reversal. His wife, once the mighty queen, now sat humbled and worn, her eyes cast downward. She looked up, and their gazes met. Tears streamed down her face as she beheld her husband. "I was blinded," she whispered. "Forgive me." The fisherman knelt beside her, taking her hand. "I forgave you long ago," he said. "But what did you learn from this?" His wife's voice barely rose above a whisper. "That true wealth lies not in gold or power, but in love, humility, and peace." The fisherman, however, was at peace. He returned to his simple life, content with what he had. His wife, though regretful, finally understood that happiness comes not from greed, but from appreciating what you have. The story of the fisherman and his wife reminds us that true happiness lies not in wanting more, but in appreciating the simple things we already have. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more epic stories.